This is your sports TV station in Lorain, WLCS TV 20.
Welcome to 8th grade girls volleyball. It's the Longfellow 8th graders at General Johnnie Wilson. Joe Bach with the camera work and the color commentary. Rob Polinsky here with you as well. We're underway. Longfellow in the black uniforms, and they are serving on the right side of your television to the young ladies in blue on the left side as General Johnnie Wilson. And Raisha Cancel unable to put it over the net. So the first point goes to Longfellow. They lead 1-0. And just like their 7th graders, they've got the black uniforms with the pink, black jerseys with the pink numerals, but they only have the numbers on the back of the jerseys. So bear with us until we can get some names for you for Longfellow. They come in with a record of 6-4. Coach Erica Rivera. Coach Alexis Brown, her General Johnnie Wilson team, excellent 9-1 record. So serving for General Johnnie Wilson, Trinity Gunder. Good line drive serve that's played to the back row, hit into the net, and that'll be a point for Longfellow. Is hitting that into the net was JoJo Kahlo. Couldn't get it over the net. Point goes to Longfellow. They lead 2-1.
Yeah, if it was anything like the 7th grade match, we're in for a whale of a contest here.
Madeline Tobakash was the first young lady who served, who now has moved over. And young lady serving that time, putting it into the net, was Natalia Metzger. So we're tied at 2. Left side of the front row now, Natasha Johnson settles in for Longfellow. And that's Tobakash for Longfellow. The set for the right side of the front row gets sent over, and it's played by General Johnnie Wilson. They put it back to the Longfellow side and unable to get it over. As coming together that time were a couple young ladies from Longfellow. Anaya Smith, one of them. And it's 3-2 General Johnnie Wilson leads. On the third hit, well done, but into the net went the young lady from Longfellow, Joe, into the net, and I believe that's that is Nair Chambers, the captain, is she. Now we can see her number, 4-2. Joe, we can't do games where we only see the backs of the numbers.
I know.
We got to get these jersey deals before we're going to come. Natasha Johnson for Longfellow puts it over, but it'll be a point for General Johnnie Wilson. They lead 5-2. Serving for General Johnnie Wilson is, Raisha Cancel hits it out of bounds. Point for Longfellow. They trail 5-3. Longfellow serves. They trail 5-3 from the back row, and unable to play that ahead was Cancel, and General Johnnie Wilson now leading 5-4. Still early stages of game 1. Serve is out of bounds, and serving it out of bounds was Anaya Smith. So Smith put it out of bounds, and it's 6-4 General Johnnie Wilson. The 9-1 team serving. Metzger plays it ahead. Now she'll get the third hit and get it over the net. And it's cross court out of bounds. Point will go to Longfellow.
Wonderful.
Yeah, Joe, I got to work on your crowd control. I will give Schlumbaker that. At least he knows how to do crowd control. Left side of the front row for General Johnnie Wilson. They're going to be able to put it over the net. And Longfellow plays it ahead. You didn't know we were here. Yes, we can hear you. We hear you. We hear you stomping, shaking, everything. We can't. You can. If you could move 3 rows over, that'd be great. Metzger from the back row for Longfellow. and they're not going to be able to put it over the net. Makes it General Johnny Wilson leads 8-5. The serve by Damika Smith. Now General Johnny Wilson will send it over from the back row. Played ahead into the net. Point will go to General Johnny Wilson. They lead 9-5. Early on game one, you play 2 games out of 3, play to 25. You must win by 2. Smith sends it over for General Johnny Wilson. Now they'll try to play it again. Smith from the back row, and that's going to be an illegal hit. And the point goes to Longfellow. They trail 9-6.
Yeah, I don't know, Rob. Big camera.
Yeah, I know. I'm 2 guys that weigh at least 250 pounds, and the nice thing is they don't see us. There's an ace on the left-handed serve, makes it 9-7. Oh, I'm going to write a book. Cross-court hit for General Johnny Wilson. Unable to get it over the net that time is Damika Smith. Joe, if you won't do crowd control, I will.
Thank you, Rob.
You're welcome. General Johnny Wilson leads 10-8. We're back to action for game one. And it will be JoJo Kahlo serving. Good deep serve. And that's going to be a point off the ace. It's 11-8.
Yeah, we had a group of rowdy kids set right next
it's all right.
to Rob.
They're cheering for their team, but they're stomping their feet, and you can't. And Joe, they're shaking your camera so nobody can see. Hello. So JoJo Kahlo set to serve, and it's 11-8. Metzger hits it out of bounds. It's 12-8. Kahlo set to serve, the 8th grader from General Johnny Wilson.
Come on, JoJo!
And
over the line.
Thank you. So that will go to Longfellow. They get the point off that violation. They trail 12-9 here in game one. From the middle of the front row, sending that over is Gunder. And for Longfellow, that's going to be a point for Longfellow. Went into the net. I believe that was Raisha Cancel doing that. So that will give the point to Longfellow, and they trail 12-10. As game one's getting a little closer here. You were tied at 1, tied at 2. And now it's 12-10 General Johnny Wilson. Longfellow with a good deep serve, and that's going to be a point as they now trail at 12-11, yeah. And again, we'll get to the numbers as soon as we can, but it's just difficult when you can only have them on the back of the jerseys until they turn around so I can see them. But that is Ariana Matthews serving. Underhand serve, but she hits it out of bounds. That gives the point to General Johnny Wilson, and they lead 13-11.
Well, what I've picked up from this, either we should cover Longfellow before October.
Oh, right. Wearing those uniforms for the Breast Cancer Month, Breast Cancer Awareness. And the serve that time by Melina Garcia, who came up from the 7th grade team to play in this game. So General Johnny Wilson won't have enough players. Goes out of bounds. It's 13-12. Toba Cash serving, and she serves it out of bounds wide. That's a point for General Johnny Wilson. Each team with some service errors here, Joe, and it's 14-12.
Yeah, it's very close, but doesn't have the excitement that the first game did. A lot of unforced errors, a lot of service errors.
Trinity Gunder with a great serve. There's an ace. And her team leads 15-12. That was well done. And I agree with you that the 7th grade game was a little bit closer and seemed to be well played. But I'm sure the 8th graders will pick it up here. Gunder sends it deep. Tobacash let it goes over her head and out of bounds. That'll be a point for Longfellow. They trail 15-13. Good job by Madeline Tobacash having that go over her head, realizing it would be out of bounds. So her team serving, trailing by 2. And there's an ace right in front of the young lady, Melina Garcia, and it's 16-13. So Longfellow within a point at 15-14. Line drive serve. Right side of the front row. And a nice job for General Johnnie Wilson. Let's get the young lady's number there that did that. She's going back to serve. And that is Raisha Cancel, who had the good hit. And now she goes back to serve. Her team up 16-14. Raisha with that serve. It goes wide out of bounds. Longfellow with a point. They trail by 1. 16-15. Longfellow 6-4. Coach Erica Rivera, Coach Alexis Brown 9-1 with the 8th graders from General Johnnie Wilson. From the left side of the front row, unable to put it over the net on the 3rd hit was JoJo Kahlo. And we're tied at 16, Joe. It's game 1 here. We've had our first tie now since it was 2-2. They were then 1 point at 9-8, but now tying it at 16. Smith with the serve for Longfellow, and they take the lead. Take the lead at 17-16.
And we have a timeout.
All right, thank you, Joe. So while we have this timeout, why don't we tell you about that clam bake that we mentioned during the 7th grade game. It's the 5th annual Buckeye Clam Bake and Tailgate. It's going to be Saturday, October 26th over at St. Nicholas Greek Orthodox Church, which is on Tower Boulevard here in Lorain. And the time will be announced once they figure out the game time for Wisconsin Ohio State. They should know that maybe about 10 days before the event or so. And the doors are going to open up 90 minutes prior to the start of the game. So in other words, if it's an 8 o'clock start, they'll open the doors at 6:30. Just have to wait and stay tuned. The clam bake menu, this sounds great. You get a dozen clams, you get your mussels, you get the grilled lemon herb chicken breast and a quarter leg. You also get corn on the cob, red skin potatoes, rolling butter, coleslaw, clam chowder. They're going to have a cash bar. You also get dessert, and you get a couple numbers you can call. For reservations or more information, you can call Maria, 440-308-6768, or Andrea, 440-667-0062.
Yeah, it's a great cause. The church organization there has long supported the Lorain Titans, so and it was a great time. I went last year. Had a blast.
So there was a celebrity Joe Bach sighting is what you're telling me.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
That probably raised the attendance right there. So Johnson puts it into the net. Natasha Johnson wasn't able to get it over the net for Longfellow, so we're tied at 17.
Actually, I sat at a table with Matt Killian and his family.
Wow.
It was.
Yeah, there were some high rollers there at that table. There's some big shots. That serve goes out of bounds. It was Yalitza Vernon for General Johnnie Wilson hitting it out of bounds. So Longfellow leads 18-17. In the back row, General Johnnie Wilson plays it. The set is sent over by JoJo Kahlo. Again, Kahlo from the middle of the front row, that time into the net. Point to Longfellow. Longfellow leads 19-17. Two-point lead, serving is Nair Chambers. She's the captain.
Oh, nice.
Serves it over, and it's sent out of bounds.
I couldn't get it in.
Nope. So Longfellow leads 20-17 off the good serve by Chambers. Damika Smith tried to get that in for General Johnnie Wilson, but it was wide out of bounds. Serve, line drive off Smith. Point for Longfellow. Another good serve by the captain, Nair Chambers.
Ace.
So will this be like the 7th grade in this grade, Joe, where the team with the better record loses game 1? Remember we had that in the 7th grade?
I was reading my mind, Rob. That's scary.
Now the 8th graders will. Good thing you're not reading mine.
Uh-oh.
I'm teasing. Nair Chambers put it into the net. Point will go to General Johnny Wilson. They trail 21-18. Again, Longfellow, who's leading game 1 of the 8th grade, is 6-4. General Johnny Wilson, 9-1. In the 7th grade match, it was Longfellow who was 9-1, and General Johnny Wilson was 5-5. So a little bit ironic. And it'll be Longfellow playing it ahead. Demicah Smith for General Johnny Wilson. Gets it to Trinity Gunder. Gunder over the net. Right back to Gunder and General Johnny Wilson. Left side of the front row. Kahlo puts it in, and that is going to be in on the line. Nice job, Raisha. I'm sorry, that was, Raisha Cancel. Put that one right on the line for General Johnny Wilson. They're within 2 at 21-19 here. Game 1.
Yeah, you see it between the 7th and 8th grade. You see the 8th grade, the passes are more purposeful. They're setting up much better. It's very exciting right now.
Gunder sends it back. Middle of the front row. And unable to get it over is General Johnny Wilson. Point for Longfellow. They're 3 points away from the game, leading 22-19. Good serve, Smith. Unable to pass it ahead to a teammate. It's 23-19.
Nice cross-court serve there.
High and deep.
Ace.
2 points away, left-handed serve. Another good deep serve, and we are, well, let's get sent over, and
it hit the top.
Okay, so that is,
yeah.
Gotcha. So it's game point and serving for the game.
He's got that knuckler. Ball does some crazy things occasionally when it comes off her fist there.
Natasha Johnson serving for the game. Johnson sends it over. Demicah Smith, nice job digging that out. Tobacash sent it back over, and that's game 1 to Longfellow. Longfellow wins game number 1, 25-19. So the 8th graders from Longfellow take game 1, 25-19. And we'll be back with game 2 as General Johnny Wilson and Longfellow's 8th grade girls volleyball. We're back after this. You're watching 8th grade girls volleyball on WLCS TV 20, home of Lorain City Schools Television.
I was the first woman ever to deploy on a Strategic Air Command deployment.
You didn't just serve your country.
I lobbied for women to be on board submarines.
You paved the way for others.
I joined the Army because I wanted a challenge.
And the challenges you face now? Your VA delivers a variety of benefits. Learn more, including how to apply online using e-benefits.
No matter what time it is, you've earned them. Apply today.
Ohio State is saving lives every day.
This is Ohio State.
We're the economic engine of the state, a major employer.
Over 60,000 students. We're on the forefront of cancer research. An educational core of Ohio.
Impacting tens of thousands daily.
Our alumni organization is nearly 500,000 worldwide.
This is Ohio State.
This is Ohio State.
Ohio State.
This is the Ohio State University.
Welcome back for set number 2 as Longfellow took game 1, 25-19 as we begin set 2, and it was General Johnny Wilson's Trinity Gunder in the blue uniform serving. The team switched sides after the first game, and General Johnny Wilson leads 1-0. They're in blue serving on the right. In black on the left, receiving the serve is Longfellow. That one went off the wall, so it's out of bounds, 2-0, and it was Natasha Johnson who couldn't pass that ahead of her teammate.
Very powerful serve here.
Yes, it was. So Trinity Gunder serving. Her team out in front 2-0. And Metzger from the middle of the front row for Longfellow sends it right back to Gunder. And the young ladies from General Johnny Wilson, who's the host school, face Spurlock from the back row. They play it ahead, can't get the point. And Longfellow gets their first point, and it's 2-1. So Longfellow will serve. It'll be 8th grader Madeline Tobacash. Their team record is 6-4. And for General Johnny Wilson and Coach Alexis Brown, her team is 9-1. Tobacash to the right side of the front row. That's Cancel hitting it over. And Nair Chambers, the captain for Longfellow, put it back to the General Johnny Wilson side. Again, Chambers sends it back over. This is a long rally. And Chambers, for the third consecutive time, gets it over the net, and that time it gets them the point. We're tied at 2. If you're just joining us, game 1 went to Longfellow 25-19. So if Longfellow can win this second game, they'll get the match 2-0. Of course, if General Johnny Wilson comes back to even this up, we'll have a third and deciding game. And for General Johnny Wilson that time, getting the point was Yalitza Verndon. And General Johnny Wilson regains a 3-2 lead.
Every one of these matches, 7th and 8th grade so far, have been nip and tuck right down to the wire.
Raisha Cancel serving. Chambers with the third hit, sends it over. Cancel puts it right in between the Longfellow defenders, and General Johnny Wilson leads 4-2. Again, General Johnny Wilson serving, leading 4-2. Tobacash off the top of the net, and it's inbounds. Nice job by the Longfellow 8th grader Madeline Tobacash, and they trail 4-3. And Joe Bach doing the camera work, color commentary. My name's Rob Polinsky. Glad you could join us for 8th grade girls volleyball as the serve goes off the top of the net. Chambers will play it back to the General Johnny Wilson side, and Gunter sends it over to Tobacash from the back row. Metzger sends it over, and that point will go to General Johnny Wilson as they lead 5-3. Middle of the front row, JoJo Callow. Send it back over to the Longfellow side. Well done. And Chambers there does a good job for Longfellow, keeping the volley going. Face Spurlock. Sends it back to Chambers. Back and forth again. Another long volley here. As that one is deep and out of bounds. That point will go to Longfellow. They trail 5-4 here early on in game 2.
Chambers did a fine job of staying out of the net on a couple of those.
Exactly. And it's not easy to do, to be able to control yourself, that you don't go into the net or under the net, because if any part of you touches that net or goes underneath the net, then of course the point goes to the other team. General Johnny Wilson, middle of the front row, or back row I should say, sends it back over. Spurlock will dig it out. Jamaica Smith plays it ahead, but out of bounds, and we are tied at 5. Nice deep serve from the back row that is played by Raisha Cancel. Sent back to the Longfellow side. And that's going to be a point for General Johnny Wilson, who's coming up with Tobacash. Hearn Smith with miscommunication. The ball fell between them. And General Johnny Wilson leads 6-5. Jamaica Smith serving. Gunter with a nice job, good placement of that job by Trinity Gunder, and it makes it 7-5 General Johnny Wilson. So it will be 8th grader Jamaica Smith serving. Sent right back to the back row. Smith will play it ahead. And on the third hit, they will get it over, but off that support beam gives the point to Longfellow at 7-6. And going back to serve for the Longfellow 8th graders is Ariana Matthews. serve. Spurlock to Gunter. Sent over and out of bounds. Point for Longfellow. It's tied at 7. Matthews with the serve. Gunter plays it back to the Longfellow side. And in between the front row and the back row, Joe, and General Johnny Wilson leads 8-7. General Johnny Wilson playing it and hitting that over is Raisha Cancel. Gunter with the set for Cancel from the left side of the front row. Nice set, and they get the point and lead 9-7.
Yeah, nice kill. Good net play there by General Johnny.
They have equaled their biggest lead of game 2. They added a 2-0 and 5-3, 7-5, and that's 9-7. So not able to get much separation here early on. 2 points is the biggest lead they've had. Line drive serve by JoJo Callow. Gunter put it off the front of the net, and that will be a double hit on Gunter. Point goes to Longfellow. They trail 9-8.
Back to 1.
And serving for the 8th graders from Longfellow is Natasha Johnson. So Natasha Johnson, that left-handed serve, she's done a good job serving in both games. Gets it over. Tobacash in the middle of the front row for Longfellow. And unable to play that over the net with Smith, and it's 10-8 General Johnny Wilson. Faith Spurlock, she came up from the 7th grade team to dress for this 8th grade game. She'll go back to serve. Spurlock serve, and that will be short of the net. Point to General Johnny Wilson's 10-9. Longfellow will serve. They trail 10-9. Longfellow plays it back to the General Johnny Wilson side. It will go into the net, and we are tied at 10. Anaya Smith serving. Smith serving. Gunter. Little set for her. She'll send it over. In the back row, Johnson can't play it ahead. The point of General Johnny Wilson. They lead 11-10. Gunter with a good line drive serve that's not played ahead by Ariana Matthews. 12-10 General Johnny Wilson. Trinity Gunter serving. Excellent serve. And that's sent out of bounds, 13-10. You know, Joe, she doesn't overhit it. She just puts it where it needs to be, and it's hard to return.
Very hard to return.
You know, you don't have to jump serve. You don't have to place them perfect, but watch how she just the line drive, nicely placed, makes it difficult for Longfellow, and that's 4 in a row. Or no, that point did go to Longfellow. So Longfellow gets the serve back and makes it 13-11. That was important to do right there. And so serving for Longfellow is 8th grader Madeline Tobacash. Tobacash with a serve that is wide. Point for General Johnny Wilson was out of bounds. 14-11. Game number 2, 8th grade girls volleyball. Game 1 went to Longfellow 25-19. Raisha Cancel with a serve. That's going to be a lead to a point. as Johnson from the back row couldn't pass it ahead. 15-11.
Yeah, it's timeout.
Timeout for Longfellow. And that gives us a minute to let you know about one of our sponsors. If I can find the sheet. Whether you're a beginner athlete or training for the big leagues, you deserve the best care available. That's why Cleveland Clinic Sports Health offers treatments and services for all your sports medicine needs. Call 877-440-TEAM or visit sportshealth.org, sports-health.org to learn more. Cleveland Clinic Sports Health, treating pro athletes and you. And again, thanks to Cleveland Clinic for helping to support Lorain Athletics on WLCS TV 20.
Good crowd here tonight.
There
Rob.
is. There is. And we
Somewhat
are
rowdy at times.
And we're in game 2. General Johnny Wilson leads 15-11. Game 1, it went to Longfellow 25-19. Good to see the middle schoolers supporting their classmates. We'd like it more from a distance than we do it right next to us.
That's right.
Thought you with
We need a broadcast booth
that
here.
first game, I thought you were having an earthquake there.
Oh, yeah.
So serving is Raisha Cancel, and it will be out of bounds. Point will go to Longfellow. They trail 15-12. Longfellow wins this game. It's over, 2-0. Should General Johnny Wilson win it, then we'll have a third game, just like we did for the 7th grade. Right side of the front row, Yalitza Verndon sends it over to the Longfellow side. Again, the volley back and forth from the middle of the front row. Point goes to Longfellow, and with 2 consecutive points, they now cut the lead from 4-2. It's 15-13. Faith Spurlock passes it ahead to Micah Smith, and it's sent back over. Nice job. Again, the Longfellow young ladies now with 3 in a row are within 1 at 15-14. Joe, they're 6-4, playing a 9-1 team, but trying to come back here in the second game after winning the first game. Spurlock hits that out of bounds, and we're tied at 15. Another good serve by Natalia Metzger. 4 consecutive points. And we are tied at 15. You play to 25, you must win by 2. Natalia Metzger, 8th grader from Longfellow, serving. Metzger serve is sent over. Chambers puts it back to the General Johnny Wilson side. Metzger from the back row. Sent it. This is another good volley as Smith gets it. Metzger to Chambers. Both teams playing this rally very well. And it was Trinity Gunder for General Johnny Wilson that time. Middle of the front row. Chambers will two-hand it over. Gunder, pass ahead. And just over. They still keep this rally going. And that time it's into the net. Point for Longfellow. They still have the serve, and they have the momentum, Joe, leading 16-15.
I don't know what Coach discussed at the timeout, but boy, they've really rallied since that.
I think it's probably the same thing you said to me during the timeout. You know, you rallied me. You said, you better get better, you know. So Metzger serving, and she hits it out of bounds. We're tied at 16. And now General Johnny Wilson will serve, tied at 16, and serving will be Yalitza Verndon. Serve. Metzger from the back row sends it back over to the General Johnny Wilson side. Toba from the middle of the back row, and that time there was a little miscommunication as Gunder hit it instead of Callow, and the point goes to Longfellow, and Longfellow leads 17-16. Spurlock keeps it alive for General Johnny Wilson. Now back to Matthews of Longfellow, and they're just wide.
Ooh, that looked close.
We are tied at 17.
So what is it, Rob, in volleyball? If it hits the line, is it good?
It's in, yeah.
Oh,
if it's any part of the line. Yep. Tied at 17. And there's an ace off the serve of Demika Smith.
Found the
It's
spot.
18-17, General Johnny Wilson. That serve goes out of bounds. And we're tied at 18 as the point goes to Longfellow. Gunter for General Johnny Wilson, back to Longfellow. Gunter with the set. And it's sent over, nicely done by Raisha Cancel. And the point will go to Longfellow. Is doing a good job for the Longfellow 8th graders was Ariana Matthews. Got the point. Longfellow leads 19-18 and they serve. Matthews. Gunter on the third hit will send it back to the Longfellow side. Sent deep, and that one, is it on the line? It is. It's on the line. A point for Longfellow. 20-18. The 8th graders from General Johnny Wilson watched that one, Joe, and it landed right on the line. And now Longfellow is 5 points away from getting a 2-0 win.
Kind of a mild upset here.
You know, for the records, yes. General Johnny Wilson 9-1. Longfellow came in at 6-4. Gunter for General Johnny Wilson. Back to the Longfellow side, and on the third hit, they do get it over the net, but going into the net was Gunter. Point for Longfellow, and they lead 21-18.
Ooh, tensions are high here.
10-3, Longfellow has outscored General Johnny Wilson the last 13 points, Joe, and that turned a 4-point deficit into a 3-point lead. Metzger from the back row for Longfellow, back over to the General Johnny Wilson side. Gunter plays it ahead, and Smith can't save it, so that'll be a point for General Johnny Wilson. They trail 21-19, and they get to serve. And serving is Jojo Kahlo. And now they'll substitute. I don't have a 23 for General Johnny Wilson, so I'm not sure who this young lady is. And she serves it into the net. Point for Longfellow. They lead 22-19. Serving is Johnson. She'll put it into the net. 22-20. Joe, when it's this close, at the end of a game, really tough on the serves. Faith Spurlock to serve. Up from the 7th grade team for General Johnny Wilson. Her team down by 2. Tobacash puts it over. And a battle to net. That goes to General Johnny Wilson. They're within 1 at 22-21. Faith Spurlock to serve. Spurlock with the serve. Metzger puts it into the net, and we're tied at 22. Again, you play to 25, but you must win by 2 points. So in other words, it can't be 25-24. Spurlock serve. Played from the back row. Point for General Johnny Wilson. They lead by 1. 23-22. And we've got a timeout as
place is going crazy.
Yeah, that's one word for it. So we are here in this 8th grade game, late stages of game number 2. 23-22, General Johnny Wilson. If they win this, then we'll have a 3rd game. If Longfellow is able to pull it out, then they'll win this 2-0. At Cleveland Clinic Sports Health, we understand athletes. Whether you've been injured or want to improve your performance, we have a team of sports medicine experts for your needs. Call 877-440-TEAM or visit sportshealth.org, sports-health.org to learn more. Cleveland Clinic Sports Health, proud medical provider for Lorain High School student athletics.
Needless to say, Rob, this is a huge point.
Right, General Johnny Wilson leads 23-22, and they have the serve. So if Spurlock's able to serve for it and get the point for her team, then it would be game point. Spurlock. Another good serve. Metzger plays it over and sent back over by the General Johnny Wilson team. Gunter, the Tobacash to Metzger, and it's game point. General Johnny Wilson is up 24-22. Face Spurlock. Game point, 1 point away from sending this to a third game. Gunter sends it back over to the Longfellow side, and Joe, we're going to have game 3. General Johnny Wilson wins it 25-22 as they win game 2 to even this up at a game apiece. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, it's the third and deciding set between the 8th graders of General Johnny Wilson and Longfellow. We'll have it for you after this timeout. You're watching girls 8th grade volleyball on WLCS TV 20, home of Lorain City Schools Television.
Stop. Think. Connect.
Set number 3, General Johnny Wilson serving, and Longfellow tied at a set apiece as we get ready for set number 3. And in game 1, it was Longfellow winning 25-19. General Johnny Wilson got us to a third game by winning the second game 25-22. Longfellow gets the first point of the third game. And again, our records, General Johnny Wilson, Alexis Brown at 9-1. The 8th graders from Longfellow, Coach Erica Rivera at 6-4. And it will be serving for Longfellow, Madeline Tobacash.
Yeah, that second set, it looks like Longfellow was going to take it, but a nice run by General Johnny to come back.
And with a lot of pressure, Joe, because they were, down 1-0, and then they trailed 22-19. And they scored the last 6 points of that match to win it, Joe. After they were down 22-19, 3 points away from losing. Faith Spurlock did a nice job coming in, the 7th grader, to serve. She gave her team the opportunity. They scored the final 6 points of the second set to send us to this third and deciding game where we're at right now. And that is Yulitza Verndon getting the point for General Johnny Wilson. They lead. They trail 2-1. Serving, Raisha Cancel. Cancel's serve is wide, out of bounds. Longfellow's point. They lead 3-1. And serving will be Natalia Metzger. Gunter sends it over, but it was out of bounds. And a good job by Smith letting that go wide, and it's 3-2. Longfellow serving, leading 3-2. Metzger. That one not going to go over the net. Service there gives a point to General Johnny Wilson. We're tied at 3. So the 7th graders played 3 games, and now the 8th graders playing in a third game. Yulitza Verndon, underhand serve. Johnson for Longfellow to DeMicah Smith. Smith puts it inbounds. And the point for General Johnny Wilson. They lead 4-3. But DeMicah Smith putting that inbounds gives her team the lead. Herndon, line drive serve. That one's played out of bounds into the General Johnny Wilson bench. 5-3. Herndon, good deep serve. Tobicash from the middle of the back row. She passed it too far, Joe. She got it past the setter and into the net. So it's another point for General Johnny Wilson. They lead 6-3 as they have doubled up Longfellow early in game 3.
Yeah, she hit it in no man's land. Really not a whole lot you could do with that.
Good job by Verndon, keeping her serves in play and hitting them deep. That one is wide, out of bounds. It's Matthews, Ariana Matthews, on the return for Longfellow, hit it out of bounds. It's 7-3, and an early timeout in game 3 for the young ladies from Longfellow. So Longfellow takes that early timeout and gives us a chance one more time to tell you about that Ohio State Clam Bake Tailgate. It's going on Saturday, October 26th, right here in Lorain on Tower Boulevard at St. Nicholas Greek Orthodox Church. It's for the Wisconsin-Ohio State game that's in Columbus, and the doors are going to open 90 minutes prior to the start of the game. The time will have to be announced because they have not set that game time yet. You, of course, wait for TV to say that probably 10 days before or so. It's going to be a cash bar. You get dessert with it. It's $40. You get a dozen clams. And on that clam bake menu, in addition to that, you get mussels, the grilled lemon herb chicken breast and a quartered leg, corn on the cob, red skin potatoes, coleslaw, rolling butter, clam chowder. You want to get tickets? Call Andrea, 440-667-0062, or Maria, 440-308-6768.
Fun time will be had.
Joe Bach was there last year. He is not committed to this year, but he was there last year and swears by it. From the middle of the back row, the General Johnny Wilson sends it over and in, and that's a nice job there by Raisha Cancel, and it's 8-3. General Johnny Wilson with their biggest lead in game 3.
Well, there's been a couple of those this set that they just watched land in.
Yeah, Longfellow led 2-0, but since then, Joe, it's General Johnny Wilson with an 8-1 run, and that one is another one right on the line. And Longfellow lets it go. It's a point on an ace because it landed on the line for out of bounds. So if it hits the line, it's inbounds. 9-3, kind of like the foul pole in baseball. You hit it, it's a fair ball.
Should be a fair pole.
That's a valid point. From the back row, Yalitza Verndon for General Johnny Wilson, and it's played and hit into the net from the back row. And that'll be a point for Longfellow, which they needed, and they still trail 9-4, but they get the serve back. Down 5. Longfellow gets a point. And General Johnny Wilson comes up to make a play on it, but they hit it out of bounds. It was Raisha Cancel. She got it over the net, but couldn't keep it in bounds. So 3 straight points for Longfellow. They've cut a 9-3 lead to 9-6, and they still serve. Set, and they send it over, and there's a point. General Johnny Wilson, nice job. I think JoJo Callow surprised the defense of Longfellow there, Joe. It looked like it was going to be a set. Instead, she sent it over in between the rows. General Johnny Wilson gets the point. They lead 10-6. And now it'll be DeMicah Smith that goes back to serve. Smith's serve is played. And now it goes back to the Longfellow side, deep in their territory. And Matthews can't get it over the net, so it's at 11-6. General Johnny Wilson regaining control a little bit, Joe, with a 5-point lead here in the third and deciding game.
Yeah, if Longfellow loses this set, they're going to look back at set 2 when they had a 22-19 lead.
Yes. Smith can't serve that over the net, so that service error gives a point to Longfellow, cuts the lead to 11-7, and it will be their captain going back to serve, Nair Chambers. Her team's down 4, and the captain will try to get them a little bit closer. Chambers, good serve. Smith from the back row plays it ahead, off the net, point Longfellow. It's 11-8, General Johnny Wilson. And that time Chambers with a miss hit on that serve. Point to General Johnny Wilson, they lead 12-8. JoJo Callow serving for General Johnny Wilson. Her team leads 12-8. Her serve, Metzger from the back row, plays it ahead to Micah Smith now. Puts it off the net, and that point goes to Longfellow. It's 12-9. So General Johnny Wilson still leads, but it's cut to 3. From the back row, we played it ahead, and Tobacash for Longfellow puts it back to the General Johnny Wilson side. Off the top of the net, out of bounds. And it will be a point for Longfellow. I shouldn't say out of bounds, it just...
Out of play.
Out of play, thank you. 12-10. Left-handed deep serve, that's played back. Tobacash, middle of the front row. Again, she'll send it back to the General Johnny Wilson side. Chambers from the back row for Longfellow. Here's a long rally, and Gunter does a great job of going over to get that, and it will hit that support wire, that guide wire, that gives the point to Longfellow. And it's a 1-point game, Joe, in the third game, 12-11. Why not? We've been here 2.5 hours between the 7th and 8th graders. You knew it was going to go down to the wire, and, you know, you don't want a 25-2 game in the third game, right? So General Johnny Wilson now leads 13-11.
Well, they've been far from that. It's been nip and tuck all evening.
They really have. And again, this is a young lady that we don't have her name for General Johnny Wilson. We apologize for that. And serve it into the net, point for Longfellow, 13-12. Longfellow serving to try to tie. Gunter, right side of the front row, sends it back to Tobacash for Longfellow. She's going to put it out of bounds in front of the General Johnny Wilson bench, and General Johnny Wilson leads 14-12. Trinity Gunder back to serve. She did an excellent job serving earlier. There's another line drive ace by Gunder. 15-12, General Johnny Wilson.
Nice serve.
Yep. Gunder sends it to the middle of the back row. Gunder with the, she'll send it over, and there's a point in front of a sliding Longfellow defender who was Nair Chambers from the back row. Couldn't get to it. 16-12, General Johnny Wilson in the deciding set. And again, between ace. Chambers and Johnson, an ace, 17-12, General Johnny Wilson. Gunder, her serve, Johnson hits it out of play. It's 18-12. General Johnny Wilson with their biggest lead in game 3, and they have taken a 6-point lead at 18-12. And it's 19-12. Was there a substitution?
There was
here?
a substitution.
Okay, so that's a no serve. They'll replay that as Trinity Gunder will. Thank you for keeping an eye on that, Joe. No, she's told to serve. She does. And Smith from the left side of the front row gets it to Metzger from the middle of the front row. Point for General Johnnie Wilson. 19-12.
I am shocked that Longfellow has not called a timeout.
6 consecutive points off the serve of Trinity Gunder. And a good job there. Now Smith will send it over. Goes back to the Longfellow side. Metzger from the middle of the front row. Sent over, and that's going to be a point again for General Johnnie Wilson, as it was Raisha Cancel getting the point for her team, 20-12. 7 straight points.
Maybe the Longfellow coach needs to do laundry tonight, too.
That, or she might be out of timeouts. I know they've taken at least one this game. I may have lost count. They took one early in the game, too. I think it's because they're out, Joe. 21-12. Or maybe, like you say, like me, got to do laundry and pack. Trinity Gunder serving 4 points away from the match. Now it's going to be 3 points away. 22-12, and Longfellow does have a timeout, and they do choose to use it here.
A little too late, I think.
So Joe Bach questioning the strategy of the 8th grade team from Longfellow as they
But Trinity's done a fine job serving. My goodness.
Right. Not just this run, but all through this.
All evening, yep,
yeah,
for the 8th grade.
I agree with you.
And she's got she's a complete package as far as volleyball. I mean, she's got the height. She has good net play, and her serves are scoring some points.
So to recap, if you're just joining us, in game 1 of this 8th grade game, it was Longfellow winning 25-19. General Johnnie Wilson bounced back to win game 2, 25-22, in which they trailed 22-19. They were 3 points away from losing this match. They scored the last 6 points to send us to a game 3. In game 3, Longfellow got to the early lead at 2-0 and 3-1. We were tied at 3. General Johnnie Wilson started with 6 straight points to go to 9-3. And even though it's gotten close, they have never given up the lead since they were up 9-3. As close as it's gotten at 1 point twice, 12-11 and 13-12. But 9 consecutive points makes it 22-12. Following the timeout, 10 points, as Joe just told you, by Gunder. They're 2 points away from the match. Trinity Gunder, 10 consecutive serves to make it 23-12. Gunder again. Good again. Match point.
Wow.
24-12. Gunder for the match. Line drive is played by Metzger. Back to Gunder. And that's going to keep Longfellow in it as they get the point and cut it to 24-13. And going back to serve is Madeline Tobakash.
We have 11 match points.
Yep, down 24-13. Tobakash's serve. Gunder plays it, cross court to Tobakash. Sends it back to the General Johnnie Wilson side. Off Metzger, and that will be the match. Or no, as a point will be awarded to Longfellow.
Somebody was under the net.
Yeah.
a little premature there for General Johnnie.
So we'll be at match point again. Tobakash serving. Her team trails 24-14. Madeline serves it, and she serves it wide and out of bounds, and that is the match.
Now they can celebrate.
So General Johnnie Wilson wins in 3, 2-1, 25-14 in the third. With the win, they go to 10-1. With the loss, Longfellow drops to 6-5. So again, it was General Johnnie Wilson in 3 games in our 8th grade game. In game 1, it was Longfellow 25-19. Game 2, General Johnnie Wilson 25-22. And in game 3, they pulled away a little bit after a close start, and they win it 25-14.
Well, Rob, thanks for coming out tonight. There's some exciting
middle
school volleyball.
I was going to thank you for inviting me. I had a good time being here with you and enjoyed it very much.
You know, the girls are excited that whenever TV20 comes out here. Our middle school sports are always well received on Spectrum Cable and on our YouTube channel as well.
And we thank everybody for watching. And Joe, thanks to you. And until next time, we'll see you later. But we want to remind that the viewers that, again, in 8th grade girls volleyball, it was General Johnnie Wilson improving to 10-1 And Longfellow will drop to 6-5. They win in 3. It was Longfellow in game 1, 25-19, but General Johnnie Wilson bounced back to win 25-22, 25-14. For Joe Bach, this is Rob Polinsky saying you've been watching 8th grade girls volleyball on WLCS TV 20, home of Lorain City Schools Television.
This has been a production of Lorain City Schools TV 20 WLCS.